Assalamu alaikum. My name is Janan, and this is another episode of iTVusa's Spotlight, where we interview Muslim leaders of organizations and learn more about what they're doing and what being a leader means to them. I'm honored to present today's guest, Imam Malik Mujahid. Imam Mujahid is a Chicago-based international human rights leader who has been interviewed and written for prominent sources such as the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, BBC, Washington Report, and others. He leads Sound Vision, which operates Muslim television in the United States of America. Imam Mujahid is also the president of Justice for All, with consultative status at the United Nations. He's the chair of the Burma Task Force and chair emeritus of the Parliament of World Religions. MashaAllah, this is a very prominent guest. I'm very excited to have you. Assalamu alaikum, Imam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Sister Janan. Thank you so much and congratulations on ITV.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm just delighted to hear about all the organizations you're a part of. I know there's a lot. So let's start learning more. Specifically, I think Sound Vision is one you wanted to start with, perhaps. Can you tell us more about the organization, what you do, and Muslim television?
Well, Sound Vision was established 35 years ago in Chicago. And the idea was mastering art and technology of communication. It has 5,000 plus article. It created Adam's World Children Production, which was the first in English language anywhere in the world. We're pioneer in developing Islamic software, Al-Qari and Al-Hadith, Al-Quran, when there was no internet per se. And we pioneered the idea of music, Islamic music, in English language. There were songs in Bangla and Persian and Arabic and Urdu, but not in English. So Daud wants PLE, we persuaded Yusuf Islam to sing again. Sound Vision focus has been Muslim families, our masjids, developing our communities, and we have used multimedia, audiovisuals, as well as articles. So we have a weekly newsletter called Muslim Home, and it brings tips and ideas about Muslim family. We have about 15 programs focused on Muslim youth, parenting, Muslim community development, mosque development, how to be living a good Islamic life in the Western context successfully, hoping and praying for the success of this dunya and everlasting life.
It sounds like quite, mashallah, a multimedia effort from written word to visual television programming, and it's had a lot of impact. 35 years, mashallah. And I'm familiar with Adam's World and have been a fan from my youth personally as well. And the music that you mentioned too. What's your favorite part of what you've seen grow, especially as technology has evolved as well?
Well, there are some things that stay the same, some things continue to grow. And one of the things which stays the same, that the world continue to produce children, and children grow up. So there is a generation of Adam's World who have their own children now. Yes. So we continue to produce Adam's World. It is available on app, Adam's World app on Android or iPhone stores. But also it is on Muslim Network Television, which Sound Vision produces 24/7. We have 6 hours of programming for children. And it is on satellite, Galaxy 19, covering USA, Canada, and Mexico. And there are 57 channels on that, including Al Jazeera, but we are number 2 in terms of viewership. We're also on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Samsung Tazeen, and people can download Muslim Network TV app on their app store.
Absolutely. These are really important options to have, especially with the youth. There's so many things that are bombarding what they could be listening to, watching, and having quality Muslim programming that has been produced with Muslim families in mind, with, inshallah, instilling good values and all of these things That's really critical. So Jazakallah khair for creating this and being a part of it for so many years. MashaAllah. Yes. So what about some of the other efforts that you've been involved in for longitudinally that you'd like to share?
Well, there are three areas of our work which we have. One area is the classic sound vision,
Okay.
which is focused on helping people uh, live Islam in the Western context. So it has trainings, it has programs, it has teachers material and training, it has parental material and training for young people, the classic sound vision. It also has a crisis text line, text salam, that is SALAM, to 741 741. And it has been able to save lives of three people, but hundreds of people call. It's 24/7 and it's anonymous, confidential, except when law requires us to break confidentiality to save lives. So that's how we know three people were rescued. The other part of Sound Vision is Muslim Network Television, which I mentioned to you. It's 24/7. It has 6 hours of programming for Muslim children and families, 6 hours of outreach, dawah about Islam, and rest of the hours have current affairs and a science show and a talk show about medicine. It has two twin Muslim physicians who are comedian as well as they dispense the information about medicine and things like that. It has children. It has also art and entertainment programming. Buna Muhammad hosts a show, Art to Heart. It has a lot of hip hop and things of this nature. But the prime thing there is the Muslim news, daily Muslim news, which comes
Yeah.
out 9 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Central Time. It takes us 55 hours, person hours time every day to produce that news. And we are now thinking of having reporters in 10 countries. Right now, we have reporters in 3 countries. The third area of our work is Justice for All. This
Yes.
started off not by we thinking about it, but since we are based in Chicago, headquartered in Chicago, when Bosnia tragedy was happening about 30 years ago in 1992, imams and president of Chicago area masjids gathered and they asked Sound Vision to do something about it. Now, we are
Yes.
not a human rights organization, but we were asked by the community because of our communication skills. So we developed something called Bosnia Task Force USA.
Okay.
That was way before, CARE even existed.
Sure.
And we had the largest march in the history of Muslims in America. 250,000 people march in Washington, D.C. We have demonstrations in 100 cities. We're able to get rape declared a war crime for the first time in human history. And it did not happen by ourselves, but we developed a coalition with National Organization of Women and worked together on that. But since it was a human right work, it would call it a task force, not Sound Vision. But
Yes.
we ended up working on many, many causes. As a result, we developed a brand name within Sound Vision, affiliated organization called Justice for All. So this is the
Yes.
third aspect of it. Currently, Justice for All have 7 campaigns: a campaign for Palestinian children, campaign for Rohingya Muslims who are subject to genocide, campaign for Uyghur Muslims who are in the largest detention camps since the Nazi Germany, and Sri Lankan Muslims, Muslims in Kashmir, and also Muslim prisoners. So we focus on Muslim minority causes, and we have offices now in 3 countries, sorry, 5 countries. So we have a staff in 3 continents, and so human rights. So to summarize, our work is classic work of helping tomorrow's Muslims today which has Adam's World and crisis text line trainings, and 5,000 pages of applied aspect of Islamic living in the Western context. Second area is Daily Muslim Network Television, 24/7. Third area is Justice for All, which is the prime human rights organization of Muslims anywhere in the world, based in America, thanks to the support of American Muslims like yourselves.
MashaAllah, that's really interesting. And what I'm really curious is when I speak to people who are leaders and they came up, you used a word pioneering earlier, and I definitely see that with the longevity and the time that you've spent and grown over the years, being a pioneer was pretty critical. Being innovative at a time when there weren't options for the West. So tell me, when you first started everything with Sound Vision, did you imagine it would be what it is today?
In the area of first two areas, in the area of what Sound Vision has done and what Sound Vision does, as well as Muslim Network Television, it was in vision. That's our name is Sound Vision. So there is an element of television and soundness of the vision,
Yes.
both together. So those were conceived before we started. But the human rights work, it was not part and parcel of the idea when we started. It happens because of the goodness of Muslim community,
Right.
who, although we are Muslims in America or American Muslims, they wanted to be concerned about what was happening in Bosnia. 50,000 Muslim women were raped in that. And it was happening right in the heart of Europe, where they uttered the first time, never again. It was happening again and again. And for 3 years, Europe was doing nothing until Muslims in America decided that we need to speak up on that. And it
Yes.
is goodness of our country. We being a good neighbors and good citizens, we have alliances and coalition, and we were able to persuade our government to stop the genocide which was going on. So third area was not conceived. It came by, but we are very happy and we are very thankful to God Almighty and those brothers and sisters. There were 8 of those people in the first meeting. Mashallah, 6 have already returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 2 of them alive. May Allah give them good health and strength, and they continue to serve the community.
Ameen, inshallah. Yes. Wow. Yes. I can see the evolution and the growth of your organization and company as time has passed, as well as the need of the Muslim Ummah and the support. That's really wonderful. And so, as a leader, how have you been able to get people to either join your team or support or help advocate for what you're creating and grow it to be, as you're saying, such a prominent source and resource for Muslims? What are some ways you've been able to grow Sound Vision?
Well, sister, it is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And maybe people who pray for me, my parents and colleagues and my teachers, it is sometimes difficult to figure out what human being does. I mean, I know in the country I grew up, if you have certain marks, the only thing you do is become a physician. And I have 100 marks more than that, and I decided not to become a physician.
Sure.
Why did I do that? I have no idea. People call me crazy, which is true. I am crazy. In a good sense of the word. So it is difficult to figure out, but I feel when you have good intentions, you take a step forward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He takes 10 steps towards you.
Yes.
You walk towards Him, He runs towards you. So this is the sense of barakah that I found good people who will be willing to stand up, people who will be willing to join. I remember a young man. He was in those days when IT specialists were hard to find. He was just a high school graduate, but he was a leading manager of IT, at Sara Lee, a multinational company. And he, for 3 months, will harass me that he wants to quit his job and join Sound Vision. Now, isn't that the blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So it's a teamwork. We have one person who leads our finances administration, another person who leads traditional sound vision work. There is another person who leads Muslim Network Television, and there's yet another one who leads Justice for All. So we develop a team, and Allah bless that team. They continue to move forward. There are a whole lot need to be done, and there are people who come forward. Sometimes I don't know who the person is and never met a person, and there will be a check of tens of thousands of dollars sitting right there. So it's a not-for-profit organization,
Yes.
which is not huge. It's not like a mosque, a big mosque. It's not a big relief organizations. It's a smaller entity, but people are good and sincere. And it seems because of those people, Allah continue to bless this organization, and we continue to move forward.
Alhamdulillah. Yes. May Allah give you the ability to continue to impact lives, because what you said, I loved the phrase. It was building tomorrow's Muslims today,
Helping tomorrow's Muslims today.
helping tomorrow's
Actually, when
Muslims.
we were thinking, first phrase came to us, building tomorrow's Muslim today, but it looked like a very deterministic, and so we changed it to before we started using helping tomorrow's Muslims today.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's a great vision, literally a very sound vision that has grown, mashallah. And what's your favorite part of being a leader, being a part of this organization?
Sister Janan, you keep mentioning word leader. Unfortunately, I had never thought of myself as a leader.
Sure.
I'm a person who could be best described as a worker
Sure.
on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, serving the community. And best part of it, meeting good people and appreciating good people. I see so many people with open heart, willing to help, willing to work. I remember a sister 10 years ago, and I was in a benefit for Sun Vision, and I was presenting an idea which was difficult for people to come. She was sitting far away. She came forward through those tables and asked me to give her my contact information. And I was taking it out and said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to bother you, but please do what you told people you're going to do, and I will help you." I have met that sister only once after that 10 years.
Yes.
But every year, somehow, she sends money for us to contribute on a higher end of the money. But then, sometime I receive a money order, which is just, it will say $4.30 or $6.80. And I said, what is this money order, which has always less than $10 and some
Sure.
cents attached with it. Finally, I learned somebody sitting in prison, a Muslim, is earning something, and whatever he or she earns,
Wow.
she cut it into a money order and send it to you.
SubhanAllah.
Effort and dua of those people is the one which helps, and I hope that will continue to help you at ITV, Janan.
Thank you. When I say leader, I think what you're creating and what you created is a way anyone can be a leader. Anyone who has an idea and can encourage others to bring people together, connect the ideas and grow the ideas. Even if you're working hard towards this vision or path, any of us can be leaders. And what I've learned from you and what I'm learning with speaking to other organizations and leaders in general is that it's really important to be involved, to advocate, to help others, because Allah will help us when we help others. And there is the kindness and the goodness, which goes a really long way, no matter the monetary amount or support, but just the dawah, the belief that these things are important to talk about, to raise good Muslims in our Muslim youth. That is our future, inshallah. Yes.
Ameen, inshallah. Inshallah.
Wow, that's really fantastic. And you've done a lot in the Chicago area. What else? Are there physical events that you have or things that people can look forward to meeting you all with what you do at Sound Vision? Do you attend conferences, anything like that?
Well, Sound Vision team does go to different conferences. There are many Muslim conferences happening. Sound
Yes.
Vision co-organizes Muslim Fest. It takes place in Toronto,
Yes.
Mississauga to be exact, in a suburb in Canada. And it has 50 to 70,000 people participate. It's a 3-day event. It's probably the largest event of Muslims anywhere in the USA and Canada. It is more oriented towards arts and those things. So there are Islamic concerts, there are comedians, there are art shows, there are exhibits, there are classes, there are films being released. So a whole lot of things takes place at the 3-day event. So muslimfest.com or muslimfest.org will give you more information. I think it is first week of July, which is taking place, and Sound Vision is the co-organizer with Dawah on that one.
Yes.
We had a benefit in Dallas just a couple of weeks ago. We'll be at ISNA in the Labor Day weekend, and we'll be at Mass Convention on the Thanksgiving weekend between Thanksgiving and the Christmas. So we continue to be there. But one of the things which I like to share with your audience is get connected. Get connected with ITV, whatever programs they have, and participate and contribute, make it a success story of Muslims. And for Muslim Network Television, you go to muslimnetwork.tv, see what you have, subscribe or download on your smartphone.
Yes.
Go to soundvision.com and subscribe to the Muslim Home newsletter. Muslim family need to be stronger, and we provide tools for that. Or become part of a struggle to helping Muslim minorities. Go to justiceforall.org, participate, support, and stand with people who stand for justice.
Absolutely. I'm going to reiterate. So just to make sure I have all, I'll go backwards. The Justice for All, and that's the supporting arm to help Muslims that are in need, and the different efforts that you have in the different campaigns, which are 7 or 8, I believe. Then there's the Muslim Network
.tv
for the programming, and then soundvision.com as well. Yes, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for speaking with me about all that you do, all that you've done. Even if you're a leader or a follower, for anyone who's listening, just get involved. I love that piece of advice as well. Be involved. We have to continue understanding and learning about our faith, reinforcing it so people can learn from us and we can learn ourselves and grow, inshallah. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Sister Janan. Truly appreciate that. And assalamu alaikum, and best wishes for what you do.
Thank you. Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Inshallah, next week we'll have another guest. Assalamu alaikum.